And if you hear my chair squeaking, it goes like this. It's just like, I had such a hard time filming yesterday because I just kept leaving and then it would.
Do you have any WD-40 in your life?
I do, but it's it's like a fabric chair, so it would get like gross.
That's a problem.
It's really old, so it's fine. It's as old as me. Okay. Welcome to this week's Read This Next with Laura and Nicole. This week we are coming at you with books that we find funny and other people on the internet find funny. So all things humorous.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We got a good selection.
We do.
Yeah.
Variety of different types of humor, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so shall I start us off with our
Please
first
do.
highlight? Okay.
Yeah.
So this author is quite well known. He's been writing books for a long time, and I'm including him because first of all, because he is so funny and well known for being a funny writer, and also because he happens to have a new book out. So this is, I'm recommending Carl Hiaasen as a highlight, and his most recent book is called Squeeze Me. And his books always have funny names like Stormy Weather or Bad Puppy, or he
Scat.
actually Scat, Hoot. Yes. Yeah. He started out writing just for adults, and then he wrote some children's books as well. So if your child may have read, if you have a kid, they may have read his books for young people. Don't let them read his books for old people. They are very grown up. So what I want to say is that they're extremely funny. They are not for everyone at all. So I'm going to read you kind of a little description, and you'll know from that whether or not it's your kind of thing. Okay, so their satirical thrillers combine bizarre characters, madcap antics, caustic wit, and a vivid depiction of Florida as a sultry natural paradise debased by human greed and folly.
Okay.
Not done yet. There's more.
Oh, I was going to say, this is already a departure from his Save the Florida alligators.
Yes, although he is very concerned about Florida alligators. His books have a very clear environmental message and trajectory. Mm-hmm. The violence in his books is not very graphic, with much left to the imagination, but I would say it is graphic enough, personally. There are episodes of extreme cruelty and depravity. Either one. There's some scenes of that, which may be too much for the squeamish. Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed. And there's ample sex and profanity. That kind of rounds it off. So not for children, not for everyone. But if that does sound like something that might be up your alley, what a fun time. Just a wild romp with like really crazy cartoony characters and people, and they're thrillers, right? So it's really fast paced, lots going on, stuff ties together at the end. It's the kind of thing where he has characters who pop up repeatedly in different books. You don't have to read them in order or anything, but it's always right. It's always kind of fun to check in and be like, what's this? And then it's a Carl Hiaasen book. So what is this insane character doing now? And what trouble are they getting up to? Yeah. And just FYI that his most recent one apparently is eviscerates Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So if you're a fan of Trump, the book will probably frustrate you and you will not enjoy it. So I would say don't pick it up. If you're not a fan, then you may find it highly entertaining. So
take a peek.
Take a peek at that and see what you think. And if you do enjoy, he's written tons, so you have a nice, rich backlist to sink your teeth into.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you described it as a thriller after saying all that stuff, because I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. There does have to be some sort of plot. I did not expect it to be a thriller.
There does have to be plot, sort of mysteries and stuff happening. Really good time. Really good time.
Check him out. Oh,
Check him
and
out.
I'll put a cover here. Or I'll
Thank
put the
you.
cover at the beginning, maybe. We'll see what I feel like. All right, I will go to my highlight.
Okay.
You probably saw my glasses change lighting. Okay, so I'm talking about An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, who's another very popular author. But I feel like a lot of people overlook An Abundance of Catherines. I hear a lot of talk about Paper Towns, a lot of talk about The Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
Forgot the title.
Not a funny one, I would think.
No, and lots of his stuff isn't that funny. Like Turtles All the Way Down, just sobbed through the entire thing. It was so depressing, like in a good way.
Okay.
But it was a lot.
So.
It was a lot. Anyways, this one's a lot lighter. It's about a guy named Colin Singleton, and his last name is very indicative of his lifestyle as a single person.
Sure.
He's dated 19 different Catherines, all spelled the exact same way, Katherine, and they've all dumped him.
That's more people than I've dated in my life.
Same. And I was like, how do you meet that many Catherines? John Green should have picked the name Sarah. That would have been a little more likely.
An abundance of Sarahs, yeah.
That would have been good too. But anyway, so Colin gets broken up with, and he and his best friend decide to go on a road trip, and then they pull off to a small town. He meets this girl who is not named Sarah, and they kind of begin a bit of a romance. But I liked it because it was kind of a bit of nerdy humor. So he would have like footnotes in the bottom that say like, this is a fun fact about this, and I genuinely laughed out loud. I made my dad read it, I made my mom read it, they all loved it. So if you're not a fan of John Green because you've read The Fault in Our Stars or something else, maybe give that one a try, because it is a little bit different from his other books, in my opinion. Anyways, have you read that one?
I have not.
That was the first one I read by him.
I've only read The Fault in Our Stars,
which is another very sad one.
Yes, it is. It's a little gloomy.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a gloomy book. So it didn't do a lot for me, but this one sounds like it would be more up my alley. I do love a fun footnote.
Yeah, right?
Say. Yeah.
It's really cute. And he's constantly obsessed with figuring out this algorithm to figure out who's the dumper and the dumpy in a given relationship. And it's pretty funny. I don't want to give anything away because it's just, and he prefers baths, not showering, which I was like, okay. He's an interesting dude, this Colin, so go read about him.
Okay, so that's another sort of contemporary. And the next one I want to tell you about is a new book. And this is another one that's been getting lots of buzz, notice, so you might have heard about it. It's called The Thursday Murder Club. Simple cover, but effective, I think. It's by Richard Osman, and it just sounds fun. Okay, so here's the description. Oh, it's just gonna be another one I'm gonna say wrong, another word. 4 septuagenarians.
I don't even know.
With a few tricks up their sleeves, a female cop with her first big case, a brutal murder. Welcome to the Thursday Murder Club. In a peaceful retirement village, 4 unlikely friends meet weekly in the Jigsaw Room to discuss unsolved crimes. Together they call themselves the Thursday Murder Club. When a local developer is found dead with a mysterious photograph left next to the body, the Thursday Murder Club suddenly find themselves in the middle of their first live case. As the bodies begin to pile up, can our unorthodox but brilliant gang catch the killer before it's too late?
I like that. That sounds like a combo of like a nice cozy mystery, but also like that one Hot Fuzz, the movie.
Sure. Yeah. Like a little bit like maybe a little gang of Miss Marples, right? If you've read Agatha Christie, that's her little elderly detective who just like goes around with her knitting and no one suspects her of paying attention, and then she comes out with
solves all the murders.
She solves all the murders. Yeah. So fun. It's got some great got a lot of great blurbs from other authors, great reviews, comments. So it seems like one that could be a fun one to check out. You know, a book with murder in the title, and I'm saying
that's
could be fun.
It could be. There was another one I was looking at called God Save the Mark, and it was about a guy who was supposed. I'm not going to say that. I feel like I'm already lost the description of it. Is that one in the library too, or because it's
don't
new?
know? Might just be Cloud Library.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I will move on to the next one. So this one's a graphic novel, and it is the 2014 National Book Award finalist. It is one of them, I guess, and it's called "Can We Talk About Something More Pleasant" by Roz Chast. Did I already say it was a graphic novel? Because I didn't even listen to myself speaking.
I think you did. You did.
It's a graphic novel. Okay, I'll read. I haven't read this one, so I will just read the description briefly. In her first memoir, Roz Chast brings her signature wit to the topic of aging parents, spanning the last several years of their lives and told through 4 color cartoons. 4 color cartoons? What does that mean?
I don't know. I would have assumed full color, perhaps.
Maybe. Okay. Family photos and documents, and a narrative as rife with laughs as it is with tears. Chast's memory is both comfort and comic relief for anyone experiencing the life-altering loss of elderly parents. So, that doesn't sound as entertaining as some of the descriptions I read on Goodreads were. Like, the next paragraph in the description just says, like, her mom, it just sounds like the family is a riot, and it's dealing with the love and the loss of it all, which is hard, but it looks really cute. Have you read that one?
I have not. Sounds good.
I feel like a lot of people might have read it, but I feel like people also tend to lean towards the Alison Bechdel stuff when it comes to family and loss.
Yes, I agree. Also very good, but this might be funnier, actually. I don't think of Alison Bechdel as being particularly funny.
No, hers is a little sad.
It is a little bit sad. Okay.
So our recommendations, we've obviously both read these ones. So do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, this one is Libra Bray's Beauty Queens. Now,
so good.
Right? Okay, so Libra Bray has written a couple of different genres. She's got like fantasy, she's got contemporary. It's this kid who has like mad cow disease called going bovine. She's written a new series of like ghostly detectives in like the 20s. Yeah. And then there's this one, which is Beauty Queens. And so you've read it, you know how good it is.
I have.
It's a riot about these beauty queens who are on a plane. They are headed to I think it's a competition of some sort. Don't remember the specifics. And the plane goes down. And all of a sudden, they're in a kind of Lord of the Flies situation, but it's beauty queens. So they're still practicing their dance moves on the beach just in case they get rescued in time. They're like worried about their nails and stuff. But they also, I want to say that the boys in it are also beauty queens. There is males that are on the island, but I don't remember what their role was.
There's a few different, stories happening, but mostly it's all about these young women. Mm-hmm. Lots of fun,
Oh, yeah.
If you ever, if when you read Lord of the Flies, you were like, well, sure, boys. But what
about women?
What about women or, teenage girls?
Yeah.
And this author was like, I'm going to write that book.
Yeah. And there's murder and the women are trying to figure out like who's doing it, but all the while still maintaining their flawless tans. It was probably the first book that I read and I was like, hell yeah, women empowerment. Which is surprising because I didn't expect that from a book called Beauty Queens.
And let's just put it out there. I think that cover is horrendous.
It's not great. It's it's like a Rambo look, but
yeah, it's just not good. I think it's very misleading.
Yeah.
It's not a great cover. The book is better than the cover.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Libba Bray is just a great author, but this one it's so funny, and the one girl that you kind of mostly follow. They put the boys in their place sometimes in the funniest ways and just prove time and time again that they're not just dumb blondes. And it's so funny. Go read it. It's really good.
It's really good. I really liked all the friendships between, because it can be difficult to write friendships well and female friendships well, and I feel like there's so many great moments of friendship in there.
Yeah.
It's also actually like a really diverse read. Like I believe there's like a trans character, there's different kinds of romances happening. Yeah, really great, really fun book.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
Co-sign that recommendation.
Yeah. Now tell me about yours.
Okay. So mine is another new book, and it is called Solutions and Other Problems. It's by Ali Brosh. She wrote the book Hyperbole and a Half that came out 7 years ago, actually.
Oh,
so
I didn't realize it was 7 years.
It was that long ago.
That's a
7
while.
years. I know. So this is I was going to call her a young woman, but I mean, she's as old as I am, so we're in our 30s, so we're not young women anymore. But so she was an artist on the internet. She had a blog where she would tell funny stories and have these really ridiculous, like done in paint stick drawings.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically
really
scribbles,
funny.
But good.
Basically scribbles.
Yeah.
And she would tell stories about her life or about her childhood. Very funny. And then she also ended up telling stories about the mental illness that she was working through. So she wrote some stories about her depression. And then that book ended up those blog posts were collected and published. And that book was a huge bestseller, recommended by like people from Bill Gates, like yeah, like just it just made big inroads, like culturally. And one of the things she was really praised for was how sensitively and also like hilariously that she kind of chronicled her experience with depression. And like I said, that was 7 years ago, and then she disappeared off the internet.
Wow, where'd she go? She's living her life.
Left.
Nice.
Yes. But so people were concerned. People were concerned because they felt like they knew her, right? And they knew that she'd been struggling. But she just did what she wanted to do with her life. And then she came back just this year and was like, hey, I'm back. And also I have a new book out. And people were like, yay.
Wow.
Yeah. Like surprise book. I was also like, yay.
Ooh. Like every time Adele comes out with a new album, we're all like,
yeah.
Really?
This is great. Yes. People were very excited. So this new book apparently has more stories from her childhood, adventures of her ridiculous animals, and then also, kind of what she's known for is these particular essays on, last time she was talking a lot about her episodes of depression, and now this one she's talking about grief and loneliness. Like in that period of 7 years, she got divorced and remarried, and also her sister, she lost her sister. So she's talking about those sort of difficult issues, which again, like talking about that, it makes it sound like, boy, that could be kind of a downer. But Nicole will put the book cover up for us, and you will see how could a book with that kind of cover be a big downer. The pictures are hilarious again, and it's a mixture of stuff, right? It's funny stories and then stories that are talking about difficult topics, but in a funny way. All new material. None of it had been on the blog. And this was the Bill Gates quote: "The observational skills of a scientist, the creativity of an artist, and the wit of a comedian."
Wow, that's high praise.
It is high praise. Yeah, lots of fun. Very, very insightful. If you've ever struggled with mental illness, or even if you haven't, but you know people in your life who have, Ali Brosh has really illuminated, for many people, kind of offered an insight into what that can be like for the person who is struggling themselves. Really, just really, really funny, laugh out loud funny, and highly recommended.
That sounds really good.
Problems.
It's funny how a lot of the books that we talked about today, we kept saying it's like this book but funny, and they're all kind of sad, but they're all like, and even when I was looking them up, a lot of the books are like, this is so and so's memoir of this horrible thing that they went through, but it's witty and funny. And I'm like, wow, good for these people to be able to look at these situations and laugh. But it's really interesting, the duality of the two.
Duality. That it is. We had considered talking about the author John Irving because he's like one of the big giants of humorous, funny fiction. And we're just going to shout him out as an author and say he's someone you might want to check out. But one of the things that he's known for, and he uses this phrase in one of his books, is incorporating lunacy and sorrow at the same time. Whoa. So there's kind of this like madcap hilarity happening, and then at the same time there's this, you know, this dark undercurrent of life, of how, you know, things happen, and you can't control it, and you have to kind of go along with the ride. But what you were just saying about these kind of books we seem to be recommending, or these memoirs, that there's these two strains kind of living side by side, the humor and sometimes the, you know, the painful can really bring the humor out more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lunacy and sorrow.
Yes. Yeah. My mom always said to me when something bad would happen, she'd be like, well, you either laugh or cry, Nicole. And I was like, Mom is speaking words of wisdom. Listen to her, listen to John Irving, and read all these books because we like them too.
We did.
Do we have anything else to add, or should we do the wrap up? So this has been the pod. We're not a podcast
Not yet.
Not yet. This has been dang it. This has been Read This Next. You can catch us on YouTube or Facebook every Friday at 2 p.m. We are at TBayPL across all platforms. And please like us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, wherever. Comment, subscribe. We do really want to hear what you guys want to talk about. So leave us some comments and we will hopefully get to some of your topics soon. And that's all. We'll see you next week.
Check out our show notes.
Oh, right. Please check out our show notes at www.tbplofftheshelf.com. That's everything. And we'll see you all next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Oh, what an ending.
Hi, it's Laura. I'm here to add in some special spooky funnies books since this is coming out during spooky season. So I have 3 picks for you, 2 adult and 1 YA. So first we'll start with the YA one. Now this is a book that has a fabulous title. It's called Evil Librarian and it's by Michelle Knudsen. So, you know, if you've ever wondered, you want to know more about librarians, this book is one way to find out. This book is very funny and it's by someone who obviously knows a lot about libraries. There's lots of fun stuff for library staff to pick up on, but also the general public. So let me just show you what this book is about. When Cynthia Rothschild's best friend Annie falls head over heels for the new high school librarian, Cyn can totally understand why. He's really young and seriously hot, and apparently thinks Anne would make an excellent library monitor. But almost immediately, Cyn starts to sense that something about Mr. Gabriel isn't quite right. Maybe it's the creepy look in the librarian's literally mesmerizing eyes, or the weird feeling Cyn gets whenever she's around him, or the blood and horns and giant bat-like wings that appear when he thinks no one is looking. Before long, Cyn realizes that Mr. Gabriel is, in fact, a demon. Now, in addition to saving her beloved school musical, Sweeney Todd, from technical disaster and avoiding making a complete fool of herself in front of her hopeless crush, who happens to be the only other person who knows the truth about Mr. Gabriel, Cyn has to save her best friend from the attractive yet very, very bad clutches of the evil librarian, who has not only bewitched Annie, but also seems to be slowly sucking the life force out of the entire student body. So you can hear from that description, there's a lot going on in the story. It is very funny, like sort of dark humor, snappy, sarcastic, and happy to report there's also 2 sequels. So this is an entire trilogy. And if that last name sounds slightly familiar to you, it might be because she writes really great picture books, including one that's really famous among librarians called Library Lion. So, she does all sorts of different library stories, really sweet picture books, and then, horrifying demon librarian books for teens and adults to read. So that's pick number one. Next one is another book with a great title and a great cover, Meddling Kids. How fun is that, right? So this book is by Edgar Cantero, and it is, again, a lot of fun. Of course, the phrase meddling kids, right? We all know that from Scooby-Doo. So as you might guess, this is kind of a Scooby-Doo sort of vibe, like a, ragtag team of people who are trying to solve a mystery. So this one is the description on this. With raucous humor and brilliantly orchestrated mayhem, Meddling Kids subverts teen detective archetypes like the Hardy Boys, the Famous Five, and Scooby-Doo to deliver an exuberant and wickedly entertaining celebration of horror, love, friendship, and many-tentacled interdimensional demon spawn. More demons, right? Because it's spooky season. So this one has some Lovecraftian influences as well. It's set in the there's a flashback section from the 1970s, and then it is set in the 1990s, where some grown-up teen detectives are now, they're kind of haunted by the disturbing things that happened in their past, and now they want some answers. So they're coming together, kind of bringing the gang back together to solve the mystery. So that's Meddling Kids. Lots of fun there as well. And then finally, this book came out, I think, just last year. And you may have heard it. It got lots of great buzz because, again, fabulous title, fabulous cover. Almost too bad we had to put a barcode on this because it kind of, wrecked it a little, but still good. Okay, here's this book. My Sister, the Serial Killer. We've all been there, right? No? Anyway, really dark humor, satirical dark humor in this one. Different vibe than the others. Those are more, a little bit lighter fun. This one is darker. And there's the description: a darkly comic hand grenade of a novel about a Nigerian woman whose younger sister has a very inconvenient habit of killing her boyfriends. It does sound inconvenient, certainly. So basically just what you'd expect, the normal sort of sibling rivalry between grown adult siblings. Except for also one of them is a serial killer and the other one keeps getting dragged into it to help cover things up. She knows the best solutions for cleaning blood, that the trunk of her car is big enough for a body, and she has to convince her sister to keep from posting pictures of her dinner to Instagram when she should be mourning her missing boyfriends. So she's also kind of her sister's keeper a little bit. And the book kind of relates what happens when things sort of reach a tipping point between the two sisters and their relationship. So that's 3 very funny books that are also very spooky horror books. And as always, the descriptions about those will be on the blog, the tvplofftheshelf.com. And we'll see you next time. Bye!